Project 613, day 96, continuing on the laws of kosher diet, the food that is considered kosher and that Jews are allowed to eat. Yesterday we learned about the identifying signs of a kosher fish, which is fins and scales. Halacha, Jewish law, has a specific definition for scales that are considered the sign of a kosher fish. And therefore, it's possible that you might find some fish that have scales that are called scales in the English language, but they are not considered halachically scales. So therefore, it's important to always look at the code of Jewish law to determine what is considered kosher fish and what is not. It's interesting to note that fish do not need to have a very specific way of being killed in order to be suitable for eating. A fish, once it comes out of the water, is permitted to be eaten, which brings us to an interesting thing with regard to kosher fish. If you go into your local grocery store, market, and you find fish, raw fish, and you know that this is a kosher fish, you know that it has fins and scales, and it has the scales still on the fish, you can buy that fish even if it does not have a kosher symbol, even if it does not have kosher supervision. Because it is raw, in other words, since killing the fish, there is no specific halachic way to do it. Therefore, dead fish, as long as it has scales, the skin is still on it and the scales are there, you can identify the scales, you are allowed to buy that fish even without kosher supervision. If the skin is not on the fish, so then it needs to have kosher supervision to be sure that you're looking at a kosher fish. Moving along to the next set of laws, which discuss insects. The Torah tells us that one of the defining factors between the Jewish people and the rest of the world is the fact that the Jewish people are prohibited from eating insects. And the Torah is very specific about all the different types of insects that are forbidden. First of all, the Torah tells us that all flying insects are forbidden. The reason why the Torah makes that distinction between flying and, for example, creeping on the ground is because, as we learned yesterday, grasshoppers, locusts, which fly, are permitted. Certain types are permitted. And therefore, the Torah says that those that are not locusts, those that are not grasshoppers that are permitted, all other flying insects are prohibited. Creeping land creatures such as bugs and worms, these are prohibited as well. Insects that are born from decay, which means that they only came into an existence that is noticeable to an eye as a result of decay, these insects are also prohibited. And finally, insects that develop inside fruit or seeds are also prohibited to be eaten, and that is one of the very important things that we need to know when it comes to eating fruits and vegetables. Although fruits and vegetables are generally kosher and they don't have to have a kosher supervision, however, you need to check your fruit and vegetables to make sure that there are no bugs. And there is a specific list of the types of fruits and vegetables that need to be checked before you eat them. Thank you for watching. More tomorrow.